I'm just enjoying seeing you all and a few faces I haven't seen for a little while. So, good evening, everybody. There's Chris and Viv and Marie, who I've never met. And yes, it's just lovely. Lovely to see you. And I have the privilege of being the one that's sitting in this seat this evening. And I've suddenly gone enormous on my screen, so I'm looking at me. And it's a very curious process, this process of offering a talk. It's kind of scary. And it's an enormous gift. So I'd like to begin really just by giving you a little bit of my week, if you will bear with me to begin with. I really don't know what this talk is called, and you might decide as we go along that it has a name. I think I've got some clues, but I'm not pinning it down. So I'd like just for a moment for you to be okay, I hope, with me just reading something that I wrote yesterday. And I'll try not to rustle too much in the process. So, and I guess the reason why I'm reading this is because for me it was showing me something about my practice and how practice weaves into our daily existence and becomes our daily existence. So I'm just going to take a moment of doing what Joshi was advising us to do, to take a breath and notice your breathing before I begin to offer this. It's a sort of stream of consciousness, I would say, at this beginning. Wednesday morning. Standing at the till in Tesco's. Joshi's talk is with me. Am I present? Eyes watching Janet at the till as she patiently and carefully shifts every purchase. I can feel my feet touching the floor, and my hands are getting ready to lift each object and place them in the bag. Janet's been doing this for a long time. I've seen her many times before. This morning I see her hands lifting each object. They're my hands. I see the tiredness around her eyes, my eyes. Her head lifting with curiosity when the store supervisor goes to help another attendant. Janet is not really engaged with me. Even when I look her directly in the eye with a thank you, her reply comes from far away as she moves to lift the next selection onto the conveyor belt. I move away and stand, putting the shopping bag and its contents into a backpack. These hands pulling on gloves, just as a woman ahead of me is doing just the same thing. Her hands are my hands as she puts her fingers into her gloves, each action mirrored. I greet her as I walk past. We're just doing the same thing, I say. So she talks to me about the morning shop and getting out before the rain comes. On the way home, I can feel how well I can balance from one foot to another. What a gift. Each step a coming home. The air is cool today, and my steps are just a little bit quicker. Oh, the joy in that. A man with a red beard echoes my words as we cross the road together. Good timing. The small wall outside the doctor's surgery is being explored by a little boy in a bobbly hat, waiting with his grandma for the car in the car park. I say hello. He looks at me and shies away with a moment of uncertainty. then returns to explore the wall while gazing at Grandma and me. He enlightens us. Balancing, balancing, he says. Thoughts flash through me. How much life can I hold without unbalancing? Am I always balancing? Is this what practice is, to hold more and more, to stay balanced? When do we stop checking that we're in balance? What happens when we can't stay with it all and become unbalanced? Oh, how much we need each other. On down the road, I am walking now, waiting for passing cars. Has anyone else noticed the flowering cherry bursting with blossom? I am the flowers. Now a man in a delivery van, wearing earbuds, nods to me. Every step, there's something different. A woman with a large dog, a girl with a ruby red dyed hair, head down, visibly playing with invisibility. A man walking towards me, zipping his jacket. I wonder, how do other people experience my presence in the world as I experience theirs? I come to the front door, open, and feel that arrival into that known space, home. Something settles. And then the thoughts begin to marshal. On to the next thing. I have a talk to give tomorrow. Parts begin to leap into action. Oh, there they are. Not good enough. What is there to say that hasn't been said before? All of them wave to me. I wave back at them with a resigned and tender smile and say, yeah, I know, here you are, here you are. And there is also this. And this is a quote from a poem by Mary Oliver. It's the end of a poem called Invitation. It is a serious thing just to be alive on this fresh morning in this broken world. It is a serious thing just to be alive on this fresh morning in this broken world. So here I am, offering a talk. And I think about something that Flint said in one of his many talks. He said, the comparative mind has nothing to do with our vow. And our vow is to live and be lived for the benefit of all beings. So whatever parts come up, whatever arises, they're not relevant to that vow. I can just be here and offer you me and whatever flows through me. And one of the things that's been really flowing through me recently, we have had so many wonderful talks. Josh's talk on just being, Trudy's talk on walking with our friend Death, and then listening to Flint talking about Steve Stuckey, who was an abbot who died, who gave us so many teachings in the process of dying. And something inside of me keeps going, wow, wow, wow. And this morning, I was practicing Tai Chi. I go to a class, which I love. And one of the things that we do is we stand for a long time in the same position. And forgive me if I'm not getting this exactly right, but my understanding is that there's something in the practice that's called Wu Qi. And Wu Qi is the space of infinite possibility. And as you stand, you're standing in the space of infinite possibility. And the breath comes, and with the breath can the movement come. And I love that. I love that space of infinite possibility. And it makes me think about the things we talk about in Zen, emptiness, Buddha nature. And I don't know that I really understand them, but there's that sense of something that is infinitely possible and spacious and beyond my mind and beyond your mind and beyond our words. I watched a video with Ram Dass, who's a teacher some of you may well or will have heard of, who's been around for a very long time and is dead now. But before he died, there was an interview that he gave with Frank Ostaseski and Joan Halifax, and they're talking about death and they're talking about being with people who are dying. And Ram Dass, it was after he'd had his stroke, so his ability to speak was impaired and his cognitive ability was impaired in the sense of that he had to be very slow and deliberate. But the thing that he kept doing as he was talking with other people was he kept saying, wow, wow. The wow to life. The simple wow of just being alive here in this moment. And then I've been recognizing that as I was feeling the wow in many ways, as I walk through the world, the wow of feeling the blackbird, hearing its song in my chest, or of my hands being the hands of somebody else. There came to me the idea that really we don't need words. And in a way, it feels ironic that I'm sitting here talking when words feel like they're almost irrelevant to that reality of living and being alive. And I'm noticing how that makes me feel as I say it. And I've been noticing that I do speak less when I'm in groups. There feels less requirement to say anything. And I listen to all of you when we're in groups together, and I hear the Dharma flowing through you and between you, and I think there's no need for me to say anything. And then, as I've been going through this process, there was a moment when I found myself laughing at myself, thinking, oh, here we go, Lynne. Are you falling into Zen sickness? And Zen sickness is that the way that we sometimes refer to that place of joy in the spaciousness, and just staying with that woozy, wonderful, spacious sense of life. And that we don't need to do anything, that we can just be there because it's all happening without us needing to do anything. And it made me laugh. It made me laugh. Because the reality is that we have to also live. So, as I was thinking today, and you know, one of the ways that I find for me is helpful in this process of offering something is to let go of an idea of exactly what it's going to be. that I have a sense of what's been moving through me. I don't know whether it's useful to you or not, but I know that it's something that feels important to offer. And certainly that feeling of being one with everything. And as I look at you, you know, my eyes are your eyes. My ears are your ears. My head is your head. When I move my head, you can do the same. And that sense of just being one thing is enormous. But actually I have to live in this body, this life. And the book that came into my hands today was The Hidden Lamp. So I'd like to share with you 2 koans. And if you haven't met koans before, they're ancestor stories. And they're usually between a teacher or a master, often a master, and somebody who is a student. But these in The Hidden Lamp are particularly from women. And the first one that met me, and so this is the book, if you haven't got the book. And I'm going to read just a little bit. I'm just going to read the koan and then a little tiny bit of the commentary. And the first one, and you'll forgive me if I don't pronounce the words exactly right, because hey ho, I'll just do my best. First one is Journams without words. I'll put my glasses on so I can see. Master Jurnam was the leader of a convent. She preferred silence. She was averse to sound and form, words and speech. A student was meeting with her and quoted the words of Vimalakirti from the Vimalakirti Sutra. I am sick because all beings are sick. Then the student asked, why do you have an aversion to sound and form? Jurnam quoted the Diamond Sutra, saying, if someone sees me through form or looks for me through sound, that person is following a wrong path and cannot see the Tathagata. The student asked, why don't you speak? Jurnam said, the path is fundamentally without words. That place of silence, it's fundamentally without words. So I'm going to read 2 little bits from the commentary. And the commentary is by Eileen Kira. It's a reflection. Our practice lives when we're not caught in dualistic thinking. If we don't try to make things be the way we want them, or push away what we don't want, we can respond to each moment anew and each situation as it presents itself. We can respond to each moment anew and each situation as it presents itself. Then Jurnam knows that the path is fundamentally without words. In springtime, the song of the frogs is rock, rock. There are no words or thoughts. There's no narrative to separate us from what's here. Out of that simple awareness arises the most selfless compassion. Truly, there is no self and no other. Yet, like gold hidden in countless grains of sand, our realization is also found in the midst of the very words. We use words to point to realization. and we find realization mixed with the sound of countless words. Words aren't to be avoided. Our seemingly separate existence is the path in this life. Seeing through that non-separation is the goal. Our realization of the blooming witch hazel is to become one with that flower. No thought at all. I love this line, and I'm looking at you as I say it. Our realization of another person's life is to recognize our own face in their face. That experience of oneness is love. It is the thumbprint of the divine. I just want to read that one again. Our realization of another person's love is to recognize our own face in their face. That experience of oneness is love. It is the thumbprint of the divine. I'm going to say now, wow. And then I'm going to just introduce you to the other koan, which kind of I love and brings us back to the reality of living in this body, in this life. And it's called Wan Ji Knocks the Body Down. And I love this koan because it makes me laugh. I have an elder brother. I'm a younger sister. And my elder brother has always known what's best. He's a little more mellow now, but he always knew what was best, both for him and for me. So you'll hear this in the koan. When Master Huan Ju was about to die on Mount Wutai, he said to the monks around him, "I've heard of masters passing away while sitting or lying down, but have any died while standing?" Yes, some, they replied. What about upside down? Asked Huan Ju. No, we've never heard of such a thing, they said. Huan Ju stood on his head and died, and his robes continued to drape his body in a dignified manner. The monks decided it was time to take his body to be cremated, but it was as immovable as a stone pillar. People from near and far came to marvel at the amazing sight. Huan Ju's younger sister, the nun, Huan Ji, came to the place. She scolded. Older brother, when you were alive, you flouted the laws of the Dharma, and even now you're dead, you're still causing problems and making a nuisance of yourself. And she gave the body a little push, and it toppled to the ground. Then the monks took the body to be cremated. Doesn't that make you smile? The irreverence of both of them, in a way. And the commentary is by Melissa Mayozen Blacker, and her reflection. And she said, well, did Huan Ju just want his death to be special? Or was there something more to it? And she says, when we look more closely, we can see that this upside down death is a representation of Huan Ju's insight into the magic of emptiness, where mountains dance and everything is alive with possibility. It's the space of infinite possibility. I'm referring to that, it's not in here. He had penetrated ordinary reality and entered the upside down kingdom of awakening. But there he is, he's stuck in that place, isn't he? And this is where we refer to Zen sickness, what I was talking about. that we can get stuck in that place. Everything is possible. The world is amazing and wonderful. And then Wanji comes and pushes the body over. And this is what the commentary says. Wanji topples her brother's body down to the ground. The wise sister has no patience with her brother's emptiness-orientated death. His upside-downness is playful, but it also demonstrates the limitation of this intoxicating period of opening. No one can move his body. His sister comes along and knows exactly how to rebalance things. Emptiness and form. With a quick shove, she sets things right again, and a brother can be buried. She's moving with clarity and balance. And it's so important in our own lives to enjoy the freedom of emptiness, but never to ignore the consequences of form. There is no death, and we all die. There's no male or female, and only women can give birth to a child. Living an awakened life is not so complicated. You know, we get up in the morning, we go to the bathroom, we get dressed, and we do our work. There's nothing special. And in this nothing special, everything shines with its own light. And in this nothing special, everything shines with its own light. And just before I finish, I just want to say one of the other things that's been happening for me. You know, I think that little boy, when he was talking about balancing and balancing, that's what we're talking about. We're talking about balancing between that sense of the infinite, the absolute, whatever you would like to call it, and this reality of this body and living our lives from day to day. And I feel so privileged to be part of our Sangha, and I have a real sense of us maturing in some way. And I certainly have that sense of inner wow. Thank you very much.